Hello and welcome to another huge edition of Layback with Betfair. We've got a huge weekend of racing, the repositioning of the Group 1 Moir Stakes, headlines that at the Valley, and a terrific undercard as well at Royal Randwick. My name's Nick Foot, your host, and we've got a terrific lineup here today, a bit of repositioning of our own in terms of the equine genius, Liam Clancey, returns, and a very special debut in the form of Nick Noonan. I'll welcome you first, Nico. Welcome to the Layback team, mate.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Hopefully you can find a few winners for the punters at home and, hopefully get a result for the weekend. It looks a good weekend of racing, so, keen to get into it.
Absolutely. And Clance, welcome back, mate.
It's nice to be back.
Just 1 week between runs, we keep you.
Yeah, I generally perform a little bit better off a freshen up, so that's not to be surprised. But it would be pretty tough for Nico this week coming in. The Noonan name was fantastic last week, wasn't it? Trav was fantastic.
I heard a bit of a rumour that there was sort of a fight in the living room and it was sort of the winner, the first to submit, lost their chair at the layback table. Is that true?
No, that definitely wasn't true. But I'm happy I got this meeting because I butchered a few races last weekend, so I'm hoping for a bit of redemption. I'm pretty keen on the Moonee Valley card, so hopefully I can outperform him.
Who is the better form analyst?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Well, it's pretty easy because he doesn't get a right or reply today, so...
I think Trav's probably a better analyst.
No, wrong answer. Yeah. Nick Noonan is the best form analyst out of the brother duo.
I think I'm a better tipster.
I like it. Good. That's very good. Hey, before we get into tipping though, Nico, we start off with the lay-bin, which is just a bit of a way to break the ice here at Layback, get a few things off our chest. It's almost a cathartic exercise, isn't it, Clance? And, mate, I'm going to throw to you to kick off the lay-bin for today.
Now, I always love when it comes to me first because, you got a blank canvas, but this is one I'm going to need some help from both of you on because I think I'm going crazy. Cobwebs is where I'm going with this. And my car seems to have brand new spider webs every single day. I go out, I took it to the BP down there on Bridge Road the other day, gave it a high-pressure gun squirt, got rid of everything. The next morning I wake up and the same cobweb is back in the exact same spot. This has been happening for 12 months. And I'm wondering, is it just me? Is it just my car? Or is it happening to everyone?
I've never seen a cobweb in a Maserati before, Clance. But if you say so, I'll believe it. But certainly not happening in my vehicle. What about you, Nico?
No, we're cobweb free, luckily. So it might just be you.
Must just be a Maserati thing.
This is scary.
Yeah, it is. It is scary. Nico, what about you, mate? What are you bringing to the table?
Well, mine's a gripe that a lot of punters have. There's these dual acceptors or double acceptors. And when I was doing the form for the Atlantic Duel last night, 6 of the 9 horses at the time were dual accepted. So that makes it hard. And then I come here on the show and the race has changed complexion again. So it's just an absolute, you pull your hair out as a punter, don't you? So I think there's got to be some sort of, rule or something that they can come to, with the trainers that you've got to just get them out earlier because, it's really tough to sort of work out what's going to be there. And I think it hurts turnover, definitely in those first few hours of betting because no one's really having a crack in those races until we see what the field is.
Well, if we ever get the pattern committee back together, I think it's been 10 years, I'm proposing we could have the Furious Stakes and the Atlantic Duel meet in the middle at Wodonga and we run a 1,200 metre set weight race for the 3-year-olds, combined prize money. And that's my call. Okay, fair enough. Didn't get as much momentum as I thought it would here today. I'll keep trying. Hey, one thing I'm putting in the lay bin, we know the weather around Victoria, or the eastern states for that matter, has been horrific. Adults flying kites. So kites it's a good vocation for parents with young kids. But when I'm down at the park or out doing some training and there are just adults lined up flying their kites on their Pat Malone, grow up. It's not on. It's a vocation for children. It's some quality time you can share together, but you shouldn't be doing that solo as an adult. So kites is going in the lay bin for me, boys.
If you're running past children playing with kites, you're okay with that?
No, fine, because it's Yeah, exactly. That's what they're for. Kites
Yeah.
are for kids, right? So they're not for adults. They're for families. They're for kids. Needs to get in the bin. So does this wind, actually. And we'll talk about that too, because we're going to go to the Valley. And I'm really intrigued to hear how the track's going to play this week. Nico, we've had good trying conditions, good for kite flying conditions. The rail's in the true position. How are you expecting the pattern to emerge across the day?
Maybe that's where they should go fly the kites at the race course.
Get them out
during
there,
the week.
mate. Yep.
Rail in the true, good for. Everything looks sweet for the Valley. I think the track will race probably similar to what we saw 2 meetings ago, where it necessarily wasn't a huge advantage to be near the fence. I think it might even out somewhat from that meeting. But I'm probably expecting a fair Moonee Valley, which I think when it is fair, it is one of the best tracks to bet on. It does have a lot of bias on occasion, but that meeting we saw, what was it, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago now, that was a good wagering day, and I think a lot of people had good results on that card. So I'd be expecting a fair track.
I'm with you. I love betting at the Valley, and you can cop that for the occasional on-speed bias that you get, or even last when they were getting off the fence, at least every runner was getting their chance.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm with you, mate. Let's kick off in race number 5, which is the listed Chautauqua Stakes. Over 1,200 metres. She Dances won this race last year at $1.85, beating home Simillion and Rangers. How are you assessing, Clance, the speed map here?
It matches to be a perfect match race here. So you've got Arkansas Kid and Who Dares, and they came up against each other last start in the Regal Roller at Caulfield. Who Dares drew really wide that day, and Arkansas Kid was first up from the gelding operation, went forward, had everything go its way. Who Dares was actually still really, really strong on the line, and if anything, was actually pulling away from Arkansas Kid late. And we've got a bit of a weight swing. So Who Dares gets 2 kilo weight swing on Arkansas Kid from that. Also gets the inside draw here, which is obviously so crucial at the Valley. And Arkansas Kid's probably going to be happy to sit outside there. And then you've got Savannah Cloud, Desert Lightning, a little deep, all going to sort of settle a bit further back. Snapper's the one who, has produced some incredible ratings in the past, but is such an enigma. So I'm not really taking that horse into account much, and I don't expect it to trouble the 2 leaders too much. So if that's the case, I'm really happy to be with Who Dares at an amazing price. I think we're 480 at the moment, 520 on the exchange. Arkansas Kid, I have very, very slight favourite at the $2.50, and then Who Dares at 288. So you're getting a massive, massive value there for Who Dares. I think that's the way to play it. A Little Deep is the one that I'm really keen to take on here as well. As I said, I think it's a match race. And A Little Deep win last start was sensational to the eye, but the ratings don't back that up. It's 3.5 lengths shy of what Arkansas Kid and Who Dares did that day. So really keen to take A Little Deep. I'm going to have to go back from barrier 7 anyway. So I'll be taking that play on. So I think we're $6 A Little Deep at the moment. Happy to lay that. We'll lay something small top 2 as well. As I'm pretty keen on Who Dares and Arkansas Kid to fight this one out.
So an early hamburger with a lot for you. You're backing Who Dares, you're laying A Little Deep. Nico, do you have a firm opinion in this one?
No, I thought this was a tough race. I'm probably leaning towards Who Dares just at the price. I think Snapper might potentially lead him, and then if Arkansas Kid is buried back on the rail, I could see Snapper being a roadblock, to be honest. So I think he's going to need a very good ride, Arkansas Kid, or just things to work out in his favour. Not a lot of synergy to start the show with Liam coming in with a lay, and you're going to come in with a bet.
Well, I'm coming in with a back. I'm backing A Little Deep. I think she's a big price, $5, and you only have to go back and look at her last preparation. She was crossing the line with the likes of Sands Dude at Flemington, who was a straight track airborne.
That's a
type
good form
operator.
line.
It's a great form line, and the start. Jack Turnbull came out and said after that she went out a bit knee sore, she had a bit of a throat up. She came back, she trialled really well, and she's just going to bounce off whatever she did first up. I didn't want to be with her first up. I didn't think she'd be screwed down already enough, and she's come out and won. She's going to bounce out of that. So I've got a lot of time for A Little Deep, and I feel like there's too much of a discrepancy between the price of A Little Deep and the favourite in Arkansas Kid. So that's how I'm going to be attacking the Chautauqua boys. It's good that we've got a little bit of something there for everyone, and Nico just sitting on the fence early doors. Let's go to race number 6 now, which is the listed Atlantic Jewel Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies. A few scratchings in the race. Charmstone won last year, SP $2.50, beating home Inhibitions and Dasonic Boom. Nico, I'll throw to you first. How are you looking to play this race? I know you've obviously laid the dual acceptors angle,
Yeah.
so is that just becoming no betting now for you?
Yeah, look, I came in strong, and then the race has really changed complexion since then. So Look, I probably went with the Godolphin filly Silmarillion, but when the race was when I was doing the form, I thought Amina and Zatang were the two. So it's changed a lot since then. I was really keen to oppose Immortal Star last night. Now she probably gets the right run and just has to get past the Godolphin filly. So another race in two, and I'm going to sit on the fence again. I'll have an opinion later, but I'm sitting on the fence for this one, and I think there's probably only two chances.
Sometimes shouldering arms is as good as having a bet, really, isn't it? What about you, Clance? I know you like to get busy early in cards.
Big danger of getting a nickname Splinters over here at the moment with the amount of fence sitting going on. But I was really keen to stay away from this race last night, as Nico said. But I actually think with the scratchings with both Amina and Zaitun coming out, I think Silmarillion's actually really well set up here now. I won't be playing at the price of $2.70. I've got market price. But I will take on Immortal Star. Still happy to. I think Sassy Jenny is another one with half a chance in this race in case Silmarillion goes too far early and they are running on. So I'm happy enough to be taking on Immortal Star at $3.25. That horse has been priced in line with the Silver Shadow runners. So, even before Amina and Zaitun came out, Immortal Star was priced at the same price point as them. And that race is, he'd have to improve 1.5 to 2 lengths on that last start win to justify that price. And I just don't think he is. So Silmarillion at the 270 is the right price and the rightful favourite. Sassy Jenny, I've got marked second fave, which ultimately makes Immortal Star a lay for me.
Yeah, I'm backing Silmarillion as well here, boys. Just ran a corker of a race last start, really, in the Silver Shadow. Split Amina and Manal. This is a much easier assignment. We'll push forward again. Like that, she has the fitness edge over Sassy Jenny in terms of those on-speed runners, and we'll have position in run over Immortal Star, who was my best bet last time Immortal Star ran at the Valley, and I liked to that day. But again, that's an inferior form line to this race. So I agree on all points there, and I think Silmarillion sets up beautifully in the Atlantic Duel, particularly with the scratching of Amina. They're heading Sydney way with the Anthony and Sam Freedman filly as well.
Do you think she'll find the lead?
I think Karen will have options, won't he? I think that'll be the plan, to use the fitness and go forward. The speed doesn't look...
No, it doesn't look a lot of speed.
It doesn't look an abundance of speed, so maybe Silmarillion, Sassy Jenny will push forward. It's interesting. Immortal Star's the one that I'll be interested to see where she gets in the run.
Yeah, Beishin. I don't think he goes back.
It doesn't matter.
He puts everything in the race, doesn't he?
He's heads and shoulders above everyone in Victoria at the moment, Blake Shin. He's in rare air.
Yeah, especially those sprint to mid races. I'd still love to have Mark Zahra on my horses when he entered the 2,000 plus category. He just rates those stayers so well.
Let's move on to race number 7, the listed Mckenzie Stakes. This one's for the 3-year-old boys. Stapati won this race last year, $2.50, beating Centify and Brave Mead, which proved to be not a bad form reference for the future, for the spring features. This race certainly, again, will shape some of those big spring features, won't it? Like the Caulfield Guineas, Epimills looks a talent, Public Attention was a nice debut winner. Red Sea throws in a New Zealand flavour, second at Group 1 level over there, and Stolly Bolly will hit the line pretty well against Daggers too. It's a race I'm staying out of from a backing perspective. Nico, are you going to get your hands dirty?
Yeah, I'm actually going to have a bet here.
Yeah.
I thought Public Attention.
There he is.
Yeah, I'll fire
Here
up.
he comes.
I'll fire up.
It's mainly a map bet for me. I thought Red Sea would probably lead, maybe Extreme Diamond, and I could see Public Attention getting a very nice run here from Barrier 2. The favourite at Marley, John Allen from 1, first up. I think there's some real question marks on the potential run he might get. He's a horse, it's quite a big horse, seeing him in the mounting yard a few times, so I think he'll need a bit of room. I'm just hoping that Public Attention can probably land 1 out, 1 back, maybe even second, and he might just have that real map advantage. I love the debut win, like the fight he showed late. I think if Nandola was here, he'd probably be nearly favourite, so that's a good form line. I'm a punting form man, and it rated huge on punting form that race. Band Brothers came out and obviously won the Vein. That race, has a few question marks around it, but I think that's probably a similar standard to what we're dealing with here. And I think at Marley is a talented horse. I like the way he jumped out, but I just think with the potential map issues, I'm going to have something on Public Attention. Angel Capital and Stolly Bowley look chances, but they have map issues as well. So Public Attention hopefully gets the perfect run, and I think in time he might not be the best horse in the race, but he might just be the best setup on Saturday.
What about you, Clance?
Not dissimilar to the way I'm seeing the race. I was really impressed by Public Attention's win as well. The fight going through the line there was incredible. It had no right to win. was going away from him late. So can very much understand where you're coming from there. I'm slightly in the favour of Stolly Bolly in this race. I think Epimil and Public Attention might just be better over the 1400 running through the line here, whereas Stolly Bolly looks to be a 1200 metre horse, and that's what sets up well for that horse today. What's really drawn me, I mean, we're getting $8.50 on the exchange at the moment. It's going to be a small bet, but the two ratings that this horse has run so far, both over 1200, both rate clear of any other sprint rating recorded by any of these horses so far. So that makes it's just a bet you have to have with those sort of things in your favour. Got to mark the $5 mark, so by no means is it a launch job, but when you're getting 8, you've got to take it.
Geez, the daggers, the stocks in daggers will rise if Stolly Bolly's rocketing home and saluting here. Hey, boys, I'm going to lay Epimile, and this is not a knock on the horse. In fact, I think it might be the best horse out of the race. I just don't like the setup, and Nico, you touched on it. Barrier 1, 1,200 metres, first up, bigger assignments in store, and we're being asked to take sort of 320 corporates at the moment. I think that's pretty tight in a race with a host of winning chances. This is a race where I'm going to go really wide in the quaddy legs. So when I'm seeing a favourite around 320 in a pretty even affair, that's probably where I'm stepping in to have a lay bet. So race 7, number 2, Epimile is my lay.
I thought it was interesting too. He's had 2 runs over 13 and 1,400 metres. Now he comes to probably the hardest race he's faced over 1,200 and he is favourite. So it's not a done deal. I don't think he's necessarily a Derby horse, but he is going to get out of much further.
Yep, and you've got to be priced off that Growing Empire trial, right? Like that's the only reason why he's come up favourite in my opinion.
Good conversation. Race number 8, the So You Think Stakes, 1,500 metres, first edition. With the fee and move to grand final eve, this race has sort of been positioned well to be an early target in the spring, and looks a good addition to this repositioned Moir Stakes card as well, which I'm a big fan of, seeing some of these terrific horses go around, which we'll cover a little bit later. Look, Pericles has come up favourite here, boys, and she's arguably wins the PB, Lawrence. Do you think if a horse called Pinstripe didn't just take his line, perhaps? I'm not quite sure, but this reads really well for Pericles. But do you want to dive in at that sort of quote, Nico?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's a moral, Pericles. Oh. I'm really keen to.
Okay, we started slow, but we're here now.
I told you I'd fire up. He was really good second up last campaign in the Futurity. I think when you look through Pericles' best runs, he's a really good horse in high pressure races. I've got this quite a fast speed with Buffalo River and Rolls. They both like their last runs, both of them, they set up very fast tempo. So if they do similar here, they might even get into a speed battle. And then I think that takes away from a few horses as well here. Like Attrition's only second up out of a slow run race. Muhamek's drawn wide. I don't think the other horses have the class. So I think Pericles, I reckon Blake Shin will give him a very similar ride to last start, where he got him out of the barriers, really put him in the race. And if he runs up to anywhere near his best, that second in the Doncaster, second in the Futurity, he's got a great second up record. I don't think he's a horse that has a massive turn of foot. So I think those fast tempo races really suit him. And if he's able to build down the side at Moonee Valley, I think he's a really strong winning chance. I'm hoping for a little bit better. We're all a bit greedy in this game, aren't we? So I think around that 230 mark, maybe you might get 250. So I might wait till late to back him.
There's already 250 available on the exchange, so it's not bad at all.
Yep, so you might even get better than that. So I'm going to wait till late, maybe BSP for me. But I think Pericles, if he's not winning this race, he's going to find it tough to win one in the spring. So looks his race.
He's just dished out a moral. He's a Blake Shinman too.
Oh,
you can tell.
That extra level of confidence when Shin's on board.
So what about you, Clance? Are you interested in this race?
Nah, not really one I want to play, but Nico summed that up so perfectly. I had the exact same speed map. Pericles is just a gelding with such a terrific record and just really consistent, whereas the rest of the runners in this field just mix and match their form so much that you can't really have any confidence betting into them. I loved seeing Showmanship get back to his best last start. He and Jimmy Bear put an absolute gap on third. Looked as if liked getting his toe in the ground that day as well, just a little bit softer. And we're getting, $15 Showmanship. So a gun to my head, I might have a couple of shekels there.
Did you see the jump out in between runs at Pakenham?
Not that I recall.
It was one of the better jump outs you'll see from a horse down the back straight there. He sat... I watched the jump out and thought,
I was going to say, you can see that, could you?
On your telescope. It's filmed on a Nokia 3350.
I thought they got the colours wrong to start with. I was like, this can't be him back in the field and wins his heat. And that last 100 metres, it was like he grew wings. So he is flying. It's just whether the track conditions are right for him.
Yeah, and has drawn really well. So that price could have something on, certainly including in the multiples. One, if I was going to lay anything in the race, I think Pounding is into its 9th run of the prep. I can't see this horse going to a new peak as it's going to need. And so it's a pretty decent $10 price. So I'd be taking that on the place if I was going to have any lays.
Love your work, boys. Hey, it's time to talk proper Group 1 racing now. Like, this is a genuine Group 1 here. It's the Moir Stakes, weight for age, 1,000 metres. The previous 3 winners of the race are Imperatriz, Coolangatta and Wild Ruler. And the market on corporates at the moment has been some of the most fascinating stuff to watch over the past couple of days since the barrier draw. We've seen a mountain of cash for Lady of Camelot since drawing 2. I Wish I Wins around that $4.40 quote. First up, 1,000 metres. Is that going to be a little bit too sharp? And Estriella, well, she's jumping out as good as any horse in Victoria at the moment, Nico. Is this a race that you have confidence betting into, or is it one that you just want to sit back, crack the top off a cold one and go, this is horse racing?
Maybe both, but
I like that.
I'm very confident here. I think Estriella's come back a better horse this campaign of what we've seen at the jump outs. I love how relaxed she's been early in her trials. Blake Shin really got a lot out of her last campaign. I think he really has a good association with her. The way I map the race is Lady of Camelot will lead her. I think they'll go at quite a fast tempo. They'll probably look to fight out the race. I Wish I Win will be the one storming home late, but from the ratings that I've sort of used and seen, Estriella, if she can get back towards her peak, which was second up last campaign, that is a number that would win you a lot of Group 1s. And I think if she can improve off that, well, there's a real chance she's really hard to beat here. So, yeah, I'm going to have a good crack here. I think Estriella is a really strong winning chance. I have her marked clear favourite, probably closer towards 280. So I think there's really good value there at that price. And I'm actually going to lay Lady of Camelot. I don't know if there's necessarily all the ticks for her here. I think Estriella is going to be breathing down her neck. Blake Shin's ridden Lady of Camelot before, so he'll know sort of, the ins and outs of her. He might know when to really take off and put the pressure on her. I know she gets him with 50 kilos here, but she had a great season as a 2-year-old, winning the Slipper. She probably should have won the Blue Diamond, but, we've seen over recent years, sometimes the winners of those races don't really go on with it. I think there's a few of those other 2-year-olds like Storm Boy and a few others that really look like they'd be better once they get into their 3-year-old campaigns. And she may have been the one that was just, that took advantage of that in those races. So I was happy to be against her. I had her closer to $6, to be honest. I don't think she's going to improve, and off her ratings last campaign, if she doesn't improve, she probably can't win. So I'll lay Lady of Camelot and have a good bet on Estriella. I Wish I Win's very price dependent for me. If he gets out to, say, $6, I might have a saver, but I think Estriella's the winner.
He's just coming with the hamburger with the lot for the Group 1. No stuffing around from Nico. What about you, Clance? Does the Goodwood run make Estriella a little bit lukewarm? That's sort of where I sat with her.
I don't. It's the old adage, right? Like, I'm always very happy to forgive a good horse one run. Mm-hmm. I still think she's unders at the moment. I couldn't possibly take that price. But the 3-year-old just made this such a great race. Like, it's so fascinating. Lady of Camelot's got 50 kilos, over 1,000 metres at the Valley, and he's going to get the rail. That's going to be bloody hard to run down. From a ratings perspective, I Wish I Win is so far and above these. And if this was around Caulfield at the 1,200, there's no betting. I couldn't have enough on I Wish I Win, but that's not the setup we've got on Saturday, which makes it into just a fascinating contest. I will be knocking the top off one at the top of the stairs there at the Valley on Saturday and just watching without any investment in the race. And I know you will, so I won't take up too much time, but I'm excited to see how Haisugi comes back if they do happen to put too much speed on early.
She's the X-Factor horse, isn't she?
Yeah, she's got 50 kilos with Jamie on board coming down the outside. I'm excited to see that horse come back.
And this is no knock on the Blue Diamond winner. I'm siding with Lady of Camelot here, but Lady of Camelot's your Blue Diamond winner and your Golden Slipper winner had Spywire not just absolutely cut her up top in that Blue Diamond. And I'm a Lady of Camelotman here. I'm really liking her setup. I do actually agree. She's very tight now. Like, I was sort of shopping around $7 futures on Sunday, and just through a barrier draw, we've come into sub 4. It's very tight, but I love the setup. 50 kilos, barrier 2. She's going to press forward. Waterhouse bot team. She's just going to be absolutely firing to go
trials
first.
Were that of a fit horse.
Exactly, with Giga Kick and linebacker in behind, which I think just read outstanding for this. So I'm pretty keen, Lady of Camelot, and look, I will admit that price is pretty tight, but I'm already invested and committed, so I'll be backing her in the Group 1 as well, boys. It's a lot to play out, though, and moving forward. Just I wish I win. You think about him as well. This time last year, he was first up 1,400 metres, and now we're first up 1,000. So it's a stranger setup for an older horse.
Like $5.50 on the exchange for this horse already, and you can imagine we'll probably see $6 if that's the case already. And got the residual fitness from the Queensland campaign. Like, this is going to be a fascinating race. So I probably will have a bet by the time it rolls around. But for now, I'll say I'm staying out.
Yeah, I think he goes into the Manikato, then into the Everest. So they'll be looking to peak him third up. He was second up into the Everest last campaign, wasn't he? So maybe taking a bit of a different route. They're hoping they can get a bit more out of him. And the blinkers have come off also. So he did wear the blinkers at his last run, and they've come off for Saturday. So maybe that's a sign as well that they're not all guns blazing for Saturday.
No doubt. Hey, do you boys get into your tennis at all? Tennis punt? You'd have a devastating drop shot, I reckon.
I'm not a great tennis player. My girlfriend is a massive tennis fan, actually.
Okay.
So I've been dragged along to the Australian Open and the like, so I'm becoming a fan.
Okay, I like it. Well, Steve from Ace Previews does a lot of terrific work with the Betfair team. The US Open semis are approaching, and this is how Steve's playing those.
We're getting to the pointy end now of the US Open, just a couple of matches left, and I thought I'd just take a quick look at one of the men's semi-finals and one of the women's semi-finals that will be coming up in the next couple of days. So first play is the All-American semi-final between Taylor Fritz and Frances Tiafoe. So I think there's going to be a bit of nerves on court here as both players are looking to make their first ever Grand Slam final at home, and it should be in front of a massive crowd. I think looking at the odds at the moment, I'm surprised to see Tiafoe is over $3 in this one, even though Fritz does dominate the head-to-head. So a back-to-lay possibility could be the play there on Tiafoe or the plus handicap on the games. Looking to the women's, and it's another American, Emma Navarro, coming up against Arena Sabalenka. And as much as I'd love to be getting behind another American at home, I think it's going to be Sabalenka here who should be too strong. Her form over the last couple of weeks has been exceptional, and it's hard to see her losing this one. I do like the minus 4.5 games, but it should be a massive couple of days of tennis in New York to finish off the Grand Slam action for the year. And then not long until we get to the Australian Open in January. We'll be back on home soil again. So make sure you do keep an eye out on the Betfair Hub for all the action over the next couple of days, and as we round out the tennis year.
Good luck for those playing in the US Open. I was all in on the Demon, actually, so I'm done, boys, in that market. So we'll shoulder arms to the rest of the competition. But follow Steve from Ace Previews if you want a bit of a fill-up, perhaps. Let's go to Randwick now, which is a fantastic day of racing in Sydney. Black type all over the place. We don't have any Group 1s, but a feast of Group 2 and Group 3 racing there. From a track perspective, are you a big Sydney punter, Nico?
I like watching Sydney racing. I probably don't get involved as some others, but Saturday's a card that, once the big races come around, I think we're probably all the same. A lot of the horses, so we'll have a crack. But I thought with the conditions, it's going to be quite a hot day in Sydney. I think it's going to be about 30 degrees, rail out 6. We've seen the fence be really off there recently at Randwick. Wouldn't be surprised with that rail position if those inside lanes do come back into play with the drying conditions and the rail at 6 metres. So I've looked for a few horses that might map well to potentially have something on. I'm
concerned what's going to happen with the irrigation of the track, because Uncle Chris complains about the firmness of the track in Sydney. It's been very hot conditions, windy, so they're going to have to put a fair bit of juice on it at some point. So it'll be interesting to see how it presents ahead of the racing there on Saturday. We'll kick off in race number 6, boys, the Group 2 Furious Stakes. For the 3-year-old fillies, Tis Invincible at $4.60 beat Komochi and Mumbai Muse last year. The Qlty winner, Drifting, Lobs here, building an impressive record, comes back to Sydney for this assignment. Manal should improve off that run in the Silver Shadow, and you have the winner of that race in Amina here as well. It looks a really good race for the 3-year-old fillies, Nico.
Yeah, I think it's a really good race for Manal. I thought she was really good first up. I was surprised at how much market support there was, given a lot of the time those horses can be a bit soft in the betting, but she's at $2.05 SP there, and I thought her run was quite good. She loomed up there, so she sort of looked the winner, and then Amina got the best of her late. She's much better treated on the weight scale here. She only carries 56 kilos. Last start she had 58 and gave them all 3 kilos. Now she meets them all at equal weight. So I think there's a few things in her favour. I would have loved it to be 1,400, but I'm hoping with a bit more speed on here, that might take away from a few of the other horses who are just sharper than her late last start. Wasn't the fastest run race, the 600, so hopefully a bit more genuine tempo. I think she might just lob in the right spot, 3 or 4 pairs back, and hopefully just be storming down the outside. So I thought she was really strong winning chance. There's a few key other chances around her, like they will bring in similar sort of form lines, so I'm going to trust the SP and expect her to improve second up. She was a winner second up this course and distance last campaign.
What about you, Clance?
Yeah, a race I'm pretty keen to play in. That Silver Shadow is obviously the premier form line for this race. And the 3 kilo swing is just crucial, given that there was, I think, 0.7 of a length across 5 of them on the line that day. And after the line, Moonee actually started going away from them again. So really strong. To Nico's point, I think over the 1400, you're going to see another horse. But drifting is the one from different form lines that I'm keen to talk about as well. So that drifting win actually rated well clear of the Silver Shadow. And we're getting $7 currently on the exchange for drifting, and Moonee at $3.20. I think Zeitung and Amina, great runs respectively in the Silver Shadow. But with the 3 kilo swing, I'm happy to sort of say that Moonee going to be going better and better suited in this race. And drifting, the one coming from the different form line, is the one that I'll be having the main bet on at the $7. But Moonee certainly one I'm not going to let slip under my guard. So I'll be playing both of them with Moonee as a saver, so I don't lose on the race, and drifting as the main bet. Also very well suited this morning with Silmarillion coming out with another speed influence, and now it's left to just Two Darn Lizzie and drifting. So drifting should be able to come over without too much of an effort.
Yeah, I'm with drifting as well from the Qlty. I thought that was a great win first up, barrier to box job. Ran pretty good time as well in the process. As you mentioned, drawn out. So long as she doesn't get too hassled in those early stages and can or get worked over and find a spot, I think she can press forward and be really hard to run down. Tom Sherry's partnered with her in the past as well. They won the Magic Night, their last preparation. And yeah, I feel like she's going to be hard to catch drifting. And you look through, sort of constantly been anywhere between sort of that $5 and $9 mark, is never really like jumping out of the ground as a firm favourite in any of the races. So again, you're getting around $5, I think, at the moment for drifting. I think that's
$7.
$7 exchange. It's a pretty good price, and I'm happy to back her and find out, lads.
Always helps with that 1200 metre at Randwick as well. Just that one turn, you don't really have to go too wide.
Yeah,
always makes a big difference, I find, those sprint races.
Yeah, she does map well. And seeing her first up in the yard at Caulfield, I thought she'd really come on this campaign. She's definitely put on a bit of size, better strength in behind. So off that figure first up, she really improved from a ratings point of view, and I think you could definitely back that up with the way she looks. So it's a fair chance she's just come back a better horse.
Yeah. The Melbourne form. We'll see if it stands up, that Melbourne form, hey? Hey, what about race number 7, the Group 3 Concorde Stakes, weight for age, 1,000 metres. Remark looking to go back to back, won it last year at 4:40, beating In Secret and Bella Nipotina. You had the likes of Eduardo and Nature Strip in the race last year, so it's a little bit of a changing of the guard in terms of some of these sprinting ranks here. There's a lot to unpack in this race, really. We see the return of Giga Kick. Private Eye can't be dismissed ever. First up last time in was 1,000 metres in the Lightning and beaten by Imperatriz. Aft Cabin is the X factor. Does he want to be a racehorse? He certainly can be if he wants to be. And then, Remark and I and Me, they look some pretty good value as well. I'm having a bit of a 2-bet here, but I might throw to you boys first and see how you're assessing the Concorde.
Well, I thought the speed in the race is probably the main thing you've got to figure out. How far off him do you think Giga Kick's going to be? Is Private Eye going to be ridden really cold like he was first up 2 campaigns ago? Is he going to be right there on speed like we saw in a Lightning? So if you can work that out, Liam, I think you could nail the race.
Oh, it's fascinating. I mean, you got I and Me, Remark, Way to the Stars, Red Card, all want to lead. And as we said earlier, that 1,000 metres at Randwick, it's just that one turn that we may actually see them 4 wide coming around that turn, which does enable Aft Cabin and Bella Nipotina to get a pretty nice sit in behind them, but could put the speed enough on for Giga Kick and Private Eye to run over the top 2. So that's how I'm seeing it, just a stack of speed early. But to your point, Nick, I think Remark just appeals for me at a really nice price. We're $9.60 right now, and in a race full of 1,200 metre horses, this is a first up 1,000 metre horse who's done it before against some really talented horses. Draws pretty well also in 4, so doesn't need to get any further than 2 off the fence. And I really like that. We're getting a really nice price, but I think no matter what happens, it'll be a fascinating race and they'll be flying.
Well, he won the race last year sitting 3 wide without cover throughout. He drew wider last year. He drew barrier 8. I was with him then as well. Sorry, I did.
Is that off the
Qlty?
Qlty?
I think someone asked from behind the camera. $10 into 440. So I think he's that kind that can catch a few of these. First up, 1,000 metres. He's had the similar lead in as well. 2 really sharp trials, which I like. I love horses repeating the dose, a successful formula going again, and Remark does that. So I'm going to be backing Remark, and I'm also going to be backing I Am Me. I don't know if you guys caught the trial at Goulburn. I thought it was excellent.
Hot trial.
Yeah, it was a hot trial and restrained early and then given her head late as well. So I think she'll be ridden a little bit more positively early stages in this race from the low draw. And with Nash Rawiller on board, well, she's going to get every single chance to be nashed from up on top of the speed. So I'm going to even stake Remark and I Am Me. You're going to get double figures around I Am Me and you'll get just under that for Remark. So I think I'll play both for a result. Giga Kick, I just hope for the sprinting ranks, we need to just see him hit the line. We need to see a really good return from Giga Kick, but I don't expect him to win off a long layup first up 1,000 metres.
And it's interesting how the market will treat him as well. Like he does have James McDonald aboard, which the market tends to gravitate towards there up in Sydney for good reason too. So if he had had a different rider on, could we have seen $3 out to $5? Maybe it might only be $3 out to $4, or he might even hold his price. So
is this J-Mac going, I want him for the next ride and the ride after, and I have to sort of
he's having
get
a
on
test
him
drive,
now.
isn't he?
Yeah, you'd think so. So it's fascinating. You're spot on about J-Mac and the market gravitating to his mounts.
Now, there's one that before we move on, I just have to touch on, which is Dragonstone, a horse that doesn't belong in this conversation. I'm the first one to admit that. And it's 1,100 metre horse. But with all that pace up front, we'll just be smoking the pipe at the back. We're currently 70 to 1 on the exchange. Just throw it in your multiples and your exotics and just keep it on side.
He's got a huge chin of foot, that horse, doesn't he?
I might lay. What liability sort of am I looking at to lay Dragonstone?
Offer 100.
Yeah. Terrific work. That's the race I'm looking forward to most on the card, but we've still got a couple more crackers to take a look at Randwick. And race 8's the Group 2 Chelmsford Stakes, weight for age, 1,600 metres. Navajo Peak won this race last year at $41, beating home Major Bill and upsetting Think It over for Kerry Parker. Zardosi's come up really short here, $1.95, $2. And when you sort of run on cover ground versus the likes of a mare called Via Sistina and you're only just over 2 lengths away, you can probably see why when you're stepping up in trip. Zardozi, is that a bet you want to get involved here up at the mile at that price, Nico?
No, I think she's quite skinny. It's probably not a race I'd bet into, but she does seem quite short relative to Buckaroo, who they bring in the same sort of form line. There wasn't much between them last start. Buckaroo sat at the back, whereas Zardozi was closer to the speed. As I said, there wasn't much between him in the finish. Maybe Zardozi has a map advantage here. She was really good second up last campaign in the far lap. So maybe the market's sort of gravitating towards that and thinking she should be more forward than a few of the other runners here. She definitely has the most upside in the race. Like a few of these look a bit beaten up, don't they? They've been around the block a bit, so maybe everyone's just sort of defaulting to that and thinking, well, here's an up-and-coming horse.
Is this D-Day Buckaroo? I know he's second up into this campaign, but is this D-Day?
It's just where the intent is. Like, it's D-Day if he lands one out, one back.
I feel like he sucked a lot of punters in.
If he's second
his
last,
Australian
maybe he's not there
career
to really run a big race. But he was good late sectionally first up. So
he is isn't he?
Yeah.
Good late sectionally every start, which is why he sucks a lot of punters in.
If you just look at him at his best, like that third in the Ram Vet, you could get really confident here. But there's a few runs either side of that where, yeah, you're probably grade up a little bit thinking, oh, is he actually a horse that puts in every start?
Clance?
Buckaroo is a fascinating one to talk about. Like, I was on at 50s last start, and it wasn't the worst run, but I mean, it's 50 to 1. You know, he's probably winning 2% of the races if that's right. I was pretty keen to be with Buckaroo coming into this race off that. Went through the line every bit as good as Zardozi, but then it's drawn out in 9. Like, unfortunately, this horse isn't going to be able to sit one out, one back, which I would have been. Like, I've got Mark's second favourite and one that is actually probably here to win. And you can't say that about a lot of these horses. I think there's a lot of stayers resuming who aren't trying to win this, so it does thin the race out a lot. I've got Zardozi on top, but I've marked it 330, so there's no way he's stepping in at the current price. I mean, if Hinge is ever going to win a race again, it'll be this, but I don't think she is. And Just Fine is going to be handed a really easy lead, and if you take Just Fine's form from this time last year, it's an absolute launch job, but unfortunately that horse just doesn't seem to have come back.
Lost a leg since then, but he was all right first up, and you look back through the history of this race, it can be a race to overachieve in from the front.
Well, and there's one that I want to play into that narrative a little bit, Nico, and I'm speaking of Military Mission at over $20 here. Just looks well over the odds, and we spoke about Navajo Peak winning at $41 last year. Why not Military Mission? First is actually comes to hand really quickly. So 4 minor placings from 7 first up attempts. Last time when first up, ran third behind Serpentine and subsequent Group 1 winner Boy D'Argent. He was pushed out in a recent trial. If you watch his recent trial, he was forward. It's a classic Waterhouse bot type stuff. Tim Clark in the saddle, he goes all right on front runners. I think he's a huge price. I think he'll be right up there with Just Fine, and I'm going to be playing Military Mission each way in this race because it's just got that sort of feel about it. Zardozi is your absolute deserved favourite.
It's just price.
But $1.95, you can leave me out of that. I'd rather take $4.40 Military Mission to place.
Just looking at the Racing New South Wales map, they've actually got Buckaroo map last. So that's usually a good indication of where they could settle. Slow early tempo they've put in. Yeah, he's last behind Francesco Guardi and even Athabaskan, so maybe no intent there.
Yeah,
Buyer beware.
Yep. Race number 9, the last race that we'll preview here today on Layback Boys. It's the Group 2 Tramway Stakes. Set weights 1,400 metres. Pericles won this race last year at $4.40. Nico's Morale from Skyman and Hope in Your Heart. Now I think this is a big sit back and sort of watch race for me. Are you guys in the corner of Amelia's Jewel? Are you against Amelia's Jewel? The market's been fascinating this morning. She's sort of 220 out to 320, back to 260. That was corporates. What are you doing?
I love her. I had a really good cracker in the 2-rack, thinking that she could probably elevate from that rating she put down in the stocks. Was it where she beat Pride of Jenny? Like, I thought she was going to be the next big thing, and she hasn't lived up to that.
That form reference turned out to be not too bad in the
stock
good,
hasn't it? So maybe she can sort of get back to that level, and I think at her best she definitely is a weight for age talent. This race, there's a little bit to it, but if she's at her best, I think she'll win. Do I want to find out at 260? But I don't think you're going to have to find out at 260. She's probably going to be more like $3 come the day, maybe even $3.50. So it's probably a different scenario then. Her trials were okay. I don't think there was anything to rave about. They were okay. It's pretty typical for this stable, though. The more I looked into the race, I did get very scared of Freedom Rally. When I got down to horse number 10, I thought, this horse looks a little bit deadly. First up, coming off the win last campaign. He's a talented horse. Williams on. Might just have a map advantage on Amelia's Jewel as well. I could see a real market push for him off an okay trial as well. But I think it is a race you could go looking for horses at a bit bigger price. Like Qlty was big odds at $31, but if I was going to have a bet in the race, it probably would be Amelia's Jewel, but I'd need a few more ticks. I need a big tick from the yard, maybe even a good late market push. If she's $2.60 out to $4, well, I probably don't want to be a part of it.
I thought Arctic Glamour's return in the Group 2 missile behind Schwartz was a ripper as well. I've always had a little bit of time for that mare now, so for the Ryan Alexio team. But what about you, Clance?
Went through the line really well too, didn't she? And Freedom Rally was $13 in the all-ins on Monday and Tuesday. I'm kicking myself I didn't take it. Amelia's Jewel priced around about the mark. I got $3.20, so deserved favourite, but a few too many unknowns to step in for me. But there's only one way I'm playing this race, and with a lot of confidence on my Oberon each way. The other Annabelle Neesham runner at $24, $25 on the exchange right now. Best each way of the day for me. You've got Fearson and Felix Majestic, if Felix makes the field at this point, but they're going to be the two front runners. And it leaves a fair bit of space in behind them for My Oberon and Freedom Rally, as you suggested, to really find their place there. My Oberon's in the inside draw, has had a really forward trial over the 1250, went past that import Poptronic like it was nailed to the ground. So listened to Annabelle on radio yesterday, and she gave me the last push that I need, and she said, don't sleep on this stable, mate. It's going very, very well at home. Yes, better over the mile, and we're at 1,400 here. But I think he'll be just incredibly hard to beat. So My Oberon at the big each way price is one of my best of the day.
Annabelle with the 1-2 knockout. Clance reckons Nico.
There was a race. Was the Hollindale? I think she ran 1-2 at big odds. So yeah, she can do it. And he did trial really well. And maybe
he won 400 of those. Didn't he?
Maybe if the track is favouring those horses near the fence, well, he's going to get a lovely run from one. So I can see the love.
All right, boys, it's time to sort of headline our lays and our backs, and we'll head to the lay streak where we all got a return last week. Nico, you're going to take over from Trav, who successfully...
It's just an ongoing guest lay, is it?
It's something like that, I think. And they're going all right. So they're 1 from 1 at the moment. We both got ours home as well. Liam, you obviously a couple of weeks ago. But what's...
only just. Your commemorative was coming hard.
Yes, that was... Don't remind me. What's going to be your lay streak this week, Clance?
Yeah, it's a little deep, I just think. It's a bigger price. I think we're laying at $6. So we're not making any friends there. But
laying a place, or you're laying a win?
Laying a win because it's only a 7 or 8 horse field. So the chance of running into third's pretty solid.
You can lay top 2 on Betfair.
Do you know what? Let's lay top 2. I like that.
Yeah.
I really like Arkansas Kid in that race to go well with Who Dares as well. So happy to lay a little deep, top 2.
Saved himself from coward areas there, Nico. What about you, mate? Best lay for the week?
Yeah, I got accused of being splinters early, so I'm going to come out hard here. Lady Camelot, I'm going to lay. I'm going to make her the lay streak. I think if Estriala's breathing down her neck, she'll get past her, and if they overdo it, I think Irish Owen gets over the top of both. So Lady Camelot in the Moir.
The boys have laid 2 of my bets so far as part of their lay streak, so I'm either flying or I'm not at all. My lay is going to be Epimile in the Mckenzie Stakes. I think just bigger targets. I think he'll be the best horse out of the race. Don't hurt me, Jack Jenkins. Please, in the ownership group.
Twitter blow up written all over it, doesn't it, for the punters there?
I think he'll be the best horse. I just think his setup's not conducive to winning on Saturday. Let's go to our best backs for the weekend. Clance, what do you like?
Yeah, Who Dares in that Moonee Valley race 5, top 2 at $2.10. I really like it at the $5 it is currently. But in terms of getting a result, for sure, I love the $2.10 to run top 2, and my Oberon in race 9 in the Tramway at Randwick.
I'm going to have to be Pericles, aren't I? Declared him moral, so I think he'll win. I'm pretty keen on Estriala and Manal as well, so it's going to be a big day for me. So if they don't win, I'm probably not getting a seat back in this studio, but it could be a grim night coming up.
The standards aren't that high here, Nico. I wouldn't stress too much, mate. With the likes of Tom Haylock on cruises around Malta at the moment in Group 1 season. Hey, my best back is going to be Lady of Camelot, Group 1 operator, so I'll make my best back in a Group 1 race. And I also just want to mention Military Mission at an each way price as well at over $20 there. I think $4.40, $4.50 the place is good shopping in the Chelmsford.
A best bet versus a lay streak. The group chat is going to be electric come Saturday.
I might have to put it on mute if things I tend to put it on mute 8 hours on the WhatsApp if things just aren't going my way sometimes, and I need to just have a bit of a mindful moment, let's call it. Hey, been a lot of fun. Nico, thanks for having you part of the panel today. You've been outstanding.
Thanks, boys.
We'll be lining up all of your bets next to Trav's from last week, and we'll be going through selection after that. Clance, what about yourself, mate? I think it's been a pretty solid return.
Pretty solid, and looking forward to getting out there to the Valley on Saturday for Group 1 racing.
He's really made it known. Are you in some sort of corporate function or marquee?
I'll be on those stairs overlooking the winning post, just hoping to get a couple of results.
That sounds like the media area to me. Love you, boys. Hey, all the best, everyone, across the course of the weekend. Terrific weekend of racing. We'll be back next week here on Layback with Betfair.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.